Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. Now, across the world, humanitarian aid workers constantly confront the realities of conflict, disaster and displacement while bringing food, shelter, medical care and hope. Every year on August the 19th, the world pauses to mark World Humanitarian Day. It's a day to honor aid workers who risk their lives to serve humanity. In Nigeria, where millions face challenges of insecurity, hunger and climate-related disasters, humanitarian efforts provide a lifeline while challenging governments, organizations and individuals to act with empathy and support relief efforts. Joining us in the studio is an environmental sustainability communicator. She's also an advocate, environmental health, zero waste, gardening, climate action and conservation. Temitokbe Okuno. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you so
Let's start off because whenever the environment is mentioned, we are having challenges, from flooding, from challenges of insecurity, from kidnapping, etc., that are one way or the other affecting not just us, but affecting the Mother Earth, which, of course, we refer to as the environment whatsoever. But what does this really mean to you personally? And talking about to the global humanitarian community to start with.
Thank you very much and for having me here today. Happy World Humanitarian Day.
Thank you.
Oh, it's just another day today.
Yeah.
There is a photography on one hand and then the humanitarian. They all work side by side.
Yes. So first and foremost, we want to understand who a humanitarian is. So that person is someone who takes action by putting humanity first in everything, and that means from the work that we do, particularly in the environmental space, whether you're planting trees or you're serving humanity, saving lives, or just helping with dignity, that is considered as a humanitarian. And the day is celebrated just so that we recognize what we do. We think about what we do, reflect on the things that we do that makes us human, and in particular, those who are actually doing the work. Try to reflect on those things that you do. What does it mean to you, and how is it actually impacting lives?
Interesting.
But now, being a humanitarian in Nigeria is not an easy task. I don't have to be one to know, right, with the myriad of things that are happening. So what are the biggest challenges you can point your fingers to for being a humanitarian, especially around these areas?
Food insecurity, infrastructures, funding gaps. These are real challenges facing humanitarians in Nigeria. And like I said earlier, look beyond the first responders, emergency, because whether you like it or not, climate change is a crisis and it's an emergency. And so if you work in the space of environmental sustainability, you realize that you're actually, a first responder, helping people to save lives, ensuring that they are climate resilient and they're able to withstand, whatever shocks that may arise from those challenges.
But I'll say, over a period of time, you have done a fantastic job. So before I even go with my question, congratulations on all you've been doing. I'm really a big fan on humanitarian activities because I believe that at the end of the day, we are all human and we need to be our brother's keeper. They say you don't know God, but you know your sister.
That's
so you
true.
cannot love and worship God so much when you don't want to help the person you have beside you. But we spoke about funding, and that's where I really want to hit on the world, because most of the times, it's good that you want to give out, but what if you don't have it to give out? So how do you really suffer, and how are you able to merge this funding issue? Because it's a big problem. You need to have before you can give.
Yeah, it is. I take my story. I like to share my story. So I started right from when I was in school, the foundation. Even though I didn't know where I was going, I was just very passionate. And one thing I knew, even though this is what it is now called collaboration. I'm talking about almost 20 years ago. I realized in school I would go to my VC. I was very bold. I would go to my VC and my VC would see the audacious Temitokbe. I'm like, okay, what do you want the school to do for you? I realized then that they had never sponsored things like that before, but it was with me. They were able to sponsor tree planting. There was a walk. I had to get my VC to walk from the Senate House to the I attended Unilag.
Yeah.
So when you talk about funding, so even if you don't have the finance, I've learned from a very early age to collaborate. And that's what I think people to begin to understand. Collaborate effectively, and then you'll be able to, surmount rather those challenges. And then with the real funding in place, beyond donor grants, and I think we should begin to have stronger partnerships with organizations, stronger partnerships that helps synchronize CSRs with real community challenges and get the organizations to, work with you. Because right now you see that the funding is kind of stifled a little bit, and so you need to begin to think of other avenues to ensure that the work keeps going. So collaboration is very important. We also need, of course, our government to please help us, come in, in creating grants, national grants that can be accessible to people, and most importantly, organizations to begin to diversify, social enterprises.
But still with you here, talking about government, so far so good. How would you say they've been able to impact? I don't know why you're smiling.
Because I don't
know
what you want me to say.
But in terms of government, will you say that they have played a pivotal role when it comes to humanitarian activities?
Well, the government is creating an enabling environment for us to thrive. And it wasn't like that many years ago. So I believe that it will begin to become better and better. So when that enabling environment is there, we can thrive. We can now, we're able to approach organizations who can now provide this funding. Government really would not directly provide, these funds, but would create an environment, an enabling environment for us to thrive. And that has started happening, particularly in Lagos State. Our foundation is currently partnering with the Office of the Special Advisor to the Governor on Climate Change and Circular Economy. And we've been able to, do a lot of work with that office. And of course, the Ministry of Environment and Education, and, scaling through to other states like Ogun State and the like. So,
it's good to know that you're really doing a whole lot, especially touching lives, not just, within Lagos, but across, beyond borders. I've actually covered, several humanitarian stories, especially even on the international scene. There is this Humanity First, somewhere in UK, talking about the crisis in Ukraine, Gaza. But the challenge there is that whenever we talk about humanitarian, activities and all of that, the first thing that comes to mind is that of war zones, conflicts, insecurity and all of that. But could you help us explain the difference or the link between that of environmental sustainability and the humanitarian action?
Well, if you look at that closely, you'd see that environmental sustainability is actually humanitarian action. We see it already happening with disasters, with flooding. We see
especially the one that happened recently in Niger State, Mokwa.
Is that not enough?
That's right. Enough proof.
Enough proof to say that climate change is real and there is a crisis amongst, already happening here. The food insecurity, when you talk about how it's been happening for several months now, the rise and drop in food prices, and the fact that we cannot even harvest the way we would want to harvest. Our soil is diminishing, right? And look at what is happening. Climate change is actually ravaging the communities. If you look at it, when we as environmental sustainability advocates or specialists or whatever name you want to call us, we respond to things like that, knowing that it is a climate crisis. And we let people know. We get them involved and, ensure that they are climate resilient, they are able to understand what is happening and then prevent themselves from any kind of shock or damage or those things like that. So when we continue to advocate, or maybe things like plant your trees, ensure that you're recycling, make sure that you're segregating your waste, do not put your trash in the drainages. You know, things like that helps people to be prepared, you know, against any future disaster. And then you see that flooding will reduce, homes will not get flooded, people will be able to go to work, children will be able to go to school, there'll be no cause for malaria. You know, diseases would reduce because people are listening and they're actually acting.
Yeah, we're working in a society that's more reactive than proactive. I am going to ask you to measure the impact that your intervention has had as a humanitarian organization. And the society I'm talking that is reactive more than proactive also spills into government. You get what I'm saying? So with these clear hurdles that you have to jump, can you measure your impact?
Oh, yes. We measure impacts, well, quantitatively and qualitatively. For example, you asked our foundation, the FABE International Foundation, have impacted over 130,000 students in the past almost 10 years, because we became full-fledged NGO in 2016, although we started this work since 2006. I started in 2006.
Well, it took you 10 years.
Yes. Well, even would I surprise it, it took us till 2020 before we got a break of having a grant.
Wow.
Yes, it was that long. But then, back to your question. So we have, and that's through a program of ours, the Eco Schools NG, where we have to go to schools, particularly low-income schools that are closer to the highways, dump sites, canals, and we teach environmental education. We teach that practically by showing them how to actually be a climate advocate. So they recycle, they upcycle, which is the creative reuse of waste materials into functional products of high environmental value. We also teach them how to grow food sustainably and compost. And you see, composting removes a whole lot of greenhouse gases from the environment, particularly methane. Now, these are the impacts. Yeah, I can give you the figures and like, wow, and all of that. But as a humanitarian, in the kind of work that we do, I would say we measure change by, you know, with the human feeling. We don't measure with statistics.
With statistics, okay.
Right? But with the impact that we have been able to create
something
through
that
change.
that is, you know, that you can see, that you can feel.
Yes, yes, human change.
Exactly.
Yes, talk about who is that lady before and who is she now? This lady used to dump trash in the gutters, causing drainage spill and all of that. But now she is in a hub recycling,
a better place.
Actually recycling, you know, helping to track how this person was before and how she is now. Or a school, like the Eco School, who is just a normal school, but now earns about 300,000 naira from recycling and able to fulfill school needs. These are the actual
And I
things
think that is the best way to see, you know, to see results. You see that these are physical results. We're not just telling stories, you're getting to see the change, which is beautiful. But I want to go to, you know, your organization. What is the future for you? And not just that. In an era where, you know, we're going through one thing or the other, how can we convince people, you know, to go more into humanitarian? I'm a humanitarian, I'll say,
Hallelujah.
you know, a good one at that. But how can we convince more people, you know, to go into it? What are some of the benefits? You know, for me, I do it because it's rewarding for me. When I sleep in the night and I know that I have done a positive change with the work I do as a journalist, I just feel happy and, you know, and I feel fulfilled. But how can we make more people, you know, go into humanitarian activities? And also your own, you know, organization, what are you doing to make sure that more people go inside, and the future for you as well, because you have done it for quite a time. You were relentless, you didn't stop. I'm sure there were so many challenges that you were like, oh my God, you know what, let me just forget about it, but you kept on doing it.
Yeah, listening to you, I think you're actually a humanitarian.
Okay.
Because it comes from the inside, right? And
sure.
that's what has been it for me for many years. I've seen people who would, you know, tell me, yeah, it's just all about the passion. Please go and make money. And I'm like, well, that is it for now. Passion first, anyway, before profits. So that question, the future for this work at the foundation is to build more climate innovation hubs across Nigeria, in particular. Talking about neighbors, I'm a firm believer, and I understand that I need to impact the people around me first before I go outside. So that's why we are very particular about our country, Nigeria. So, I mean, just like you said, people just need to be selfless. Think about ensuring that you are your neighbor's keeper. I mean, you know, much more like doing something for your neighbor because it would, I mean, let me rephrase that, much more like doing something selflessly, ensuring that, you know, you are making sure your neighbor is not endangered. So when we begin to think like that, you know, we see ourselves doing a lot. You would not throw that trash in the gutters. You will begin to say, okay, what is TVC saying this morning? Is this lady saying that we should begin to segregate our waste? Yes, begin to segregate your waste. In fact, you make money by segregation, by sorting your waste materials, starting from your home in the kitchen. It's as little as that, you know. As a lady, you cook. Or maybe not everybody cooks, but then if you cook in your home, you need to begin to sort those leftovers and understand that there is an end use of that leftover. It can be it can be turned into a compost that you can use to grow your food. So you no longer can complain that there is no food in the market, or you don't have money to buy food, or maybe you have a problem with chemicals on the veggies like me. I don't buy veggies in the market for over 7 years now.
Where do you get them from?
Oh, I have it in my home. I have about 21 veggies.
So you're a farmer as well?
Well, yes, you can say sustainable farmer.
Yes, sustainable farmer.
Yes,
like
and I do
peasant.
that in my home.
Right.
So this is something that anybody can do.
That's right.
You don't need a big space to have a garden. Just get some buckets, old buckets, pierce them underneath, put some good soil, and then begin to grow your food. Start talking about it. You're listening today, so start talking about it. And YouTube is your friend. Google is your friend. Talk about, I mean, look at it, read up, and, you know, do as much as possible.
That's right.
And importantly, let us begin to mentor the younger ones. Very important.
Yeah.
They are craving mentorship.
Whatever you do is actually starts from within. You take care of yourself before you think of how to take care of the next person.
That's right.
But if you look at, you've talked about funding, you've talked about the challenges that you also face, you know, ensuring that you extend this, you know, this hands of fellowship to the common man or to your fellow man. There was a time the news came up of USAID and the sponsor of terrorism and all of that. They came as, yes, we want to help aid. In fact, a lady actually wrote a book, you know, from the World Bank. I've forgotten the name, but say Dead Aid. It's actually called Dead Aid. Talking about how these countries pose themselves as we are giving you aid, whereas what they are doing underneath is sinister. But it's good to know that, yes, you are a humanitarian. But some people are thinking, I don't want to go in that route. I want to be a good person. I want to follow what the religion has taught me, because if you look at the fundamental, it's humanitarianism. Right. So how can an individual get involved in humanitarian work, maybe through your own initiative or their own communities? How do you think, what is the first step in doing that?
Thank you for that question. I think the first step is understanding what you want to do. So, you know, the humanitarian work is diverse, and I'm just speaking from the environmental sustainability sector. So I remember I've always wanted to be a doctor. And when I got into school, 100 level, second semester, and we're supposed to do a cadaver, whatever, I fainted. So I knew that was not for me. So I just knew I wanted to help people. I didn't know it was not going to be.
That's an humanitarian gone wrong.
That's right. You know, so, but now as a sustainability advocate, I am actually doing that doctor kind of work, helping people, saving lives, and also you need to know what you want to do.
That's right.
And if you come to the foundation, there are several programs where you can tap into. We have the Eco Schools program, we have the Waste Wise Women program, Tidy Nigeria, that focuses on community recycling, and we have opportunities for volunteers, donors. You can actually pass. You don't want to do anything. I'm just such a busy person. Bring your money.
Exactly.
We need the finance. We need that funding to be able to go to Moscow. Right now, the Eco Schools program is going on, and we have some funding from an organization, a partnership, and that's what I was trying to talk about, the long-term partnership, whereby you partner with an organization that understands the needs of the people, and you are able to collaboratively work on it. And then volunteer support, mentor. We need mentors, good mentors, very, very important, because our young people lack these people, and then we need.
Well, no, but just to say something quickly, I feel like as we celebrate Humanitarian Day, you should know that it starts with you.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
She's an advocate now.
Always been. The book I try to mention is Dambisa Moyo. You know, talking about Dead Aid and some of the challenges there. But then you've really spoken so well when it comes to humanitarian and environmental sustainability communicator, advocate environmental health, zero waste gardening, climate action, conservation. It's all in one person.
Superwoman.
Thank you so much for your keenness of insight.
Thank you so much.
Right. Now, to stay with us here on TVC Breakfast, we'll examine the processes, reforms, and prospects in Nigeria's democracy journey. We'll do that after this break.